Hi everybody, my name is Korosh Erfani. I am sociologist and the writer of two books in philosophy, and the first one was a few months ago under title of Infinitylogy, and I published that at the beginning of the 2021. It's about a philosophical theory according to which there is an infinite possibility in the fabric of matter to get the unlimited resources that we need. This theory is based on the knowledge of infinity. And in order to get this knowledge, we have to work on a new discipline called Infinitylogy, and this is the second book that I published a few weeks ago, and in which I try to fund the basic of this new discipline that we can call Infinitylogy. So in this program, I try to make a lecture of this book, page by page, in order to explain the details of that, and also in order to prepare the future publication. So we started with the forward part, which is a very general introduction to this subject, and we explain in the part one of this program the first two paragraphs. Let's start for the following part, and that says, up to now, we have gotten used to dissecting facts and treating only a portion, while infinitude runs everywhere inside and outside any studied occurrence. So the idea is that by specialization of everything, we have this habitude, we got used to be focused and concentrated on the idea of a part of the matter, a specific part of, or a specific form of matter. But the idea of the infinitude is that it is everywhere, and we don't have to be worried about which portion of the matter we are studying. Whatever is the object on which we are working, we can be sure to find the infinitude in that part. It says every single thing is connected to a greater number of other things, if not to everything else in the whole universe. So a bit later you will see that we have a key concept in the infinitism and also in Infinitylogy that is called the universal solidarity, which is the idea that every single thing could be connected to lots of other things, and through those things will be also connected to the whole things. So we should not forget that when we are talking about the whole, it's not a fixed whole, right? It's not an entity at all. The universe is not an entity. It's something that is getting bigger, expanded, and more varied, and also more complex. So it doesn't stop at any time. So nowhere and no time there is possibility to say an entity or the whole. But everything that we can imagine in the existence will be somehow connected to any other things in the universe. So in order to have a better idea of the universal solidarity, we can think about the existence. The existence includes everything, and everything is connected to each other. And that's the idea. I will explain it a bit later. And then we have, so the approach of Infinitylogy opposes the usual recommendation of the classic scientific methodology of isolating things and focusing on singular paths only. So that's the idea. When we want to think about the infinity, we have to keep this idea in our mind that this causal chain we are studying will go, far beyond the case we are studying, which means that there is no limit, there is no end, there is no border to what we are studying as the process of the infinity, going on. So at any moment, we should have this clue in our mind that this is go forever, this is go endlessly. In any direction, this part that we are studying has an infinite process that can be that can't be stopped, that can't be limited, and it's then unlimited. That's the idea. Nevertheless, Infinitylogy could not and certainly would not promote this broad approach unreservedly in the treatment of reality, which means that the fact that we have this idea of going far beyond of anything that we are studying, we keep that in mind, but doesn't mean that when we are working on a precise object, we will also try to find the infinite process of change and evolution of the things. No, we know that practically we cannot go infinitely, right? But theoretically we need to know it, we need to take it into account, but at the same time we know that when we are treating a precise and concrete reality, a given object, we should have some limitation of work. So that's why we say once it forms its general outline, Infinitylogy follows some comparable directives recommended by science to discover the most subtle and infinitesimal details of matter. So which means that once we have this idea of the infinitude for everything, but when we want to find the details of this infinite process, we will use the different scientific methodologies in order to be able to find the details and the particles of the matter on which we are effectively working. However, like the specific branches of science and their attitude of isolation, as soon as Infinitylogy dives into the deep levels of the causal chains, it follows the same attitude for the sake of effectiveness, which means that we will use the restrictions of the scientific methodology according to which we should have a very precise subject of the thought, right? Something on which we will focus, and we don't treat several things at the same time without having a methodological consideration for, as the science is directing us, telling us that we have to get one subject based on one initial question and then one hypothesis, and then gathering the data, trying to verify the hypothesis and to see if we can verify positively or negatively these hypothesis. So we will use effectively this scientific methodology once we are applying the infinitology for a precise case, right, for a given object, and we will use that in order to maintain the effectiveness of what we are doing as the research or study. So this means that it also tries thoroughly to find the links of each tiny insulated element with the whole structural interrelated network that encircle it. So not only we study precisely one part or one portion of a given reality, but also we try to see what is the interrelation of this part with other parts, right? So we don't forget that in infinitology what is important is to see the infinite movement of the process toward the endlessness, right? Toward the infinite. So that's why what is interesting for us is not only to understand the structure of a phenomenon, but also the interrelation of this phenomenon with other phenomena, right? And in this way, we are going to use the scientific methodology, but also to follow the methodology of infinitology. The main methodological line of infinitology should embrace this permanent back and forth between the particular and the general, taking into account the innermost dynamism of matter. So once we have the knowledge of a little part, we will see what is the interrelation of this part with other parts, right? But once we did that, we come back to that part and we try to go now in a deeper level of the structure of that part in order to see what we can find there. And then we try to understand the interrelation of this new deeper part, right, deeper level, in order to see what are the interconnection of that new level with other levels, with other subparts, with other subparticles, for example. That's a back and forth that we will respect in what we are doing, and that can become an inherent part of the methodology of the infinitology that we are using for studying the different matter. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we will continue this lecture in the next part. Thank you.